We we are not going to do anything. Amanda, and I'm just going to weigh in here and there. All things waiting room, placement, building teams in your organization. She is going to share a presentation that she put together. If you are brand new, hang out with us. If you are going, this is like foreign to me, it's okay. It will not make sense to you until it makes sense to you. But even if you can really like clear your distractions and give this some attention, even if you're brand new, you can start to understand this and you can start to use this to your benefit as you are getting people in the computer. Placement and waiting room go hand in hand, and that is how people build very large organizations very fast. And there's just so much you can do with it. So I would never be able to do justice what Amanda has put together for you guys. So I am going to be quiet, and Amanda, I'm going to let you take over.
Okay, can everyone hear me? We're good. Okay. Before I share my screen, kind of just piggybacking on what Courtney was saying. So if you are newer, this might sound like a foreign language, and it is probably one of the more advanced, like complex aspects of the business. However, it is critical in building massive organizations and helping people grow. So it's definitely important for you not only to understand like the difference between a sponsorship downline and a placement downline, but what your waiting room does, because it's one of the biggest advantages that we have with our business that it is not offered anywhere else as far as network marketing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share my screen, and then I'm just gonna walk you guys through this. I do talk fast, so if you guys have questions at the end, I'm open and happy to answer them. And I will also give this PDF if you guys want to look back at it for reference, because there is some smaller print. Just let me know if, hold on, let me share. And then let me know, can you guys see this? Okay. Okay, so before we get into placement, before we get into waiting room, before we get into red leg, it's critical for you to understand your back office as far as what your downlines mean in general. A lot of people get confused as to the difference between sponsorship downline and placement downline. They are completely different things. So when you go into your back office under my team, when you click down here, like where it says sponsorship downline, that is going to be all of your personally enrolled promoters. So those are only people that you personally enrolled through your account. Okay. But if you go to your placement downline, this can be inclusive of not only your personally enrolled, but people that are placed underneath you in your top line. So when I say top line, that means your first level of your uni levels. So your level 1 will have your placement, meaning if those are anyone that is personally enrolled that you decided not to move from your first level, or say Delaney placed someone underneath me on my top line, that would be considered my placement downline. So this is critical to first understand anything going forward, because these are where you're going to look as far as things for red leg, where you're going to look and see people's volume and where everyone's sitting. I am going into my sponsorship downline and placement downline almost every single day and making sure that I'm checking up on things. So this is the first thing to understand and know. Okay, so we're going to go over the waiting room, and then the reason why it was so critical to, it's not letting me zoom out. Hold on. Okay. I know this, I'm going to send it to you guys so you can review later, but in the same drop down under my team where sponsorship and placement downline, and this is going to be where your waiting room is. So what is a waiting room? A waiting room is a huge perk of our business that literally allows you to build teams and strategically place people together to help them grow further. You know, it is critical for you not only to understand your downline and who is placed where, but to have the mindset where you can figure out who is going to work best together, what placement makes most sense for people to push to that next rank, what you need to do to help get someone out of a red leg or strategize with them. I am at the point of my business where I have my entire organization memorized, and I'm a crazy person because this is my favorite part of this business. It is the most complex, but this is where teamwork comes into play, where you can actually help each other and you grow as a team, not just individually as yourself. So what I did here is I took a screenshot, and I'm going to show you what a waiting room would look like. So right here, I took out names and everything, but right here would be what a waiting room will look like. To the left of it would be someone's name, and then obviously where they're from. So you're going to see their current volume on this first line. And then you're going to see the days left. That means that these are the days that the people are left in your waiting room. When someone joins you, they go into your waiting room, you have 60 days to move them anywhere in your organization. It can be, you can keep them in your first level, you can move them 10 levels deep. It's wherever you want to place them. But when you do that placement, it's permanent. So make sure that you know what you're doing. If you don't, and say you just started growing and you only have 2 promoters underneath you, this is something that you do need to start thinking about, because you're ultimately going to strategize now as to your legs. However, if you are unsure, ask your sponsor, because once it's done, and you can't move them, you can't play around with it. So make sure that you're asking and you're sure what you're going to do before you do it. When you open your waiting room, it will show all of these, and then on the side, you'll see where it says move and then the levels. So it's very simple and straightforward. You're literally just going to click the button and then click the level, and then you scroll down and find the person you want to place underneath. But like I said, when it's done, it's done. So the way it works, say, for example, you enroll someone and it's your best friend and you want them to be on your top line and you want to ultimately help build them, and they're going to be one of your strong legs going forward. They're going to sit in your waiting room for all 60 days until it expires. You're not going to move them out of your waiting room, because ultimately what that means is that person is still staying in your first level. So when you first enroll someone, everyone stays in your first level ultimately until they're moved. Now, if you don't move someone for 60 days and say you forgot and you didn't want to keep them in their first line, too bad. They're there forever now. So you need to make sure that you're very strategic as to what you want to do and game plan when you want to do it. Me personally, I never let a month go by without clearing my waiting room. You can keep someone for 60 days and you can, make a more strategic decision based on, how good they're doing or who would work better with who. But the reason why I don't do that is because volume can get wasted that way, and you can ultimately be helping out other people rank advance and other people grow by placing sooner. And then they also can link up, personalities start matching, they start building, layered leadership. There's so many different aspects of it. So I never let anything sit in my waiting room at the end of the month unless it's someone in my top line. And I'm at this point now where I already established my top line, so I really will never have anyone in there. So just keep in mind, it's 60 days, and after 60 days, they're unmovable. They're staying there. If you are, I'll get to that next. Okay. So one of the things that's important to know with waiting rooms. So when you're enrolling, you're just enrolling under your account. You have your customers, you have your promoters. But the cool thing about placement and what makes this so big is that the volume moves with the person that you move. So you will always have accrued that volume. They're always going to be your personally enrolled, no matter where you put them. If you put them on a level 10 or a level 1, and you're still going to get paid out the normal sponsorship tree commissions. And if you don't know about that, you need to go back to the compensation plan. But that ultimately, they're always going to be like, you're going to get paid on a level 1 fast start, and the people they enroll will level 2 fast start. However, they're now going to move in your organization and their volume moves with them. So this is kind of an example. So like I said here, John has been in your waiting room for a week, and he enrolled on a 400 pack, and he enrolls 4 promoters that each purchased a 200 pack. So if you do 800 plus 400, that means that he's holding 1,200 in volume. So you take John and you decide you want to move John over here under Tracy as a level 2. So now John has become your level 2 promoter as far as uni-level placement, but he's always going to be your level 1 sponsored, personally enrolled promoter. But his 1,200 volume now has gone under and moved under Tracy. So say Tracy was sitting at 500 in volume, she's now sitting at 1,700 in volume. And this is where it gets really cool, because it's ultimately like, Delaney, for example, she enrolls me, and I'm sitting at a certain amount of volume, and she wants to help and build my organization together with me. She can take someone and put them under me, and then we're all going to benefit. And that's the beauty of this, because you can do this many, many layers deep, and you can strategize where it makes sense, where it's going to double, triple, maximize the volume. And I'll get into that later, but this is an amazing perk we have in this business, where, ultimately at the end of the day, you're going to be building a couple organizations in your top line, and those are just going to be heavy, heavy stacked on and on and on and on. And all those people in that organization, the hierarchy of the levels, are going to be accruing the volume that's placed under the bottom person. As far as choosing, and I'll get to that too, there's a lot of things that go into that. You never want to aimlessly place anyone just because. or to just fill a gap. I'm very strategic about this. This is something me and Delaney, we obsess over, in a sense where we get excited because this helps everyone. This is not just, you know, the top dog that's benefiting. This is already my volume, but I'm looking to see how many people can I help as possible and what's going to make the most sense for all parties, not just myself. So there's a few different things to know about your waiting room just in general. And these are things that a lot of people don't know. And if you aren't aware of these, it can affect you because ultimately you can either lose out on a placement 1 month or, you know, if you're waiting till the end of the month and you want to move someone and you have, you know, you want to make sure someone, say, I guess hits 4K and you have someone that's working together with them, and then you wait past the time that the waiting room closes, you can't move them anymore. So on the 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, the last day of every single month, the waiting room closes. Now, that doesn't mean that it closes indefinitely. That means that for that month, you're done doing placements. You're not gonna have to wait till the following month to place. The reason why I said I never leave my waiting room stacked, like it is cleared out, not usually I clear it out the day before the last day of the month, but I will never leave anyone in there because there's so many people that could benefit from that volume. For example, if I had someone that's about to pop 4K and they're sitting in my waiting room, and I have someone that, you know, maybe is going for 12, and I know that they would work really well together, and I can strategize with them and be like, look, I'll do this placement if you bring in another promoter, and we do placement for placement. So many people can benefit that way. So like, I'm not going to leave just volume standing. Now, that's something that you can make a decision on your own if you feel more comfortable waiting the full 30 or 60 days because you kind of want to assess how serious this person is about the business or who you think they'd work well together. That is fine. But I personally never leave anyone in my waiting room ever at the end of the month. So another thing to know is that sometimes all the volume doesn't move with that promoter if you wait. The reason why I'm saying this is so, or if you do the placement, sometimes it all doesn't roll over. So for example, if someone enrolls on October 20th and then someone enrolls on October 21st, and then say you want to place the person that enrolls on the 21st under the person that enrolls on the 20th, they'll accrue that volume even though that other promoter enrolled the day after, but that volume will not roll over into the following month. And these are things to know as far as, for those you don't know, let me back up a little bit. If you enroll after the 15th of the month, all your volume rolls over with you into the next month. So that's why people that enroll in the last 2 weeks of the month, they're at an advantage because say they're pushing for 4K between the 15th and the 30th, they pop 4K, that 4K rolls with them and now they're in an advantage to hit 12 that following month. So you have to keep these things in mind when you do placements because, for example, say you have someone, say I enroll today and Delaney enroll tomorrow. And Courtney was our sponsor, and Courtney wants to take Delaney and put Delaney under me. Yeah, I'm going to accrue that volume for this month, but say in 5 days I don't hit 4K. Now, and Delaney had $2,000 in volume. I get into November, and now none of her volume rolled over with me. So I'm not as far ahead as I thought I was in regards to getting to the next rank. The main thing to know with the waiting room is that you would need to make the decision whether this is something that you're going to want to do at the end of every month or if you're going to do it case by case basis. And you also need to understand that wherever you're placing these people, it's a permanent long-term move and it needs to benefit everyone. The one big thing I always tell people, they're like, okay, well, I can help pop her to 4K real quick. I'm just going to move the 500 real quick. I'm like, no, why are you doing that though? Like, what is the reason behind that? That is one thing.
Can I say something about that?
Yeah.
So I think it's super important to know that you want to move people to help people. But like, and this is probably what you were going to say. When you move somebody and you do it for them, you then take away grit. You take away that moment where they see how far they can stretch. Like, let's say Amanda's pushing for 200K and she needs $1,000 more and I had $1,000 in my waiting room. Yes, if it is 10:55 and we have 5 minutes left in the month, absolutely. But I would never wake up the last day of the month and be like, oh, here you go. Congratulations on 200K. You never want, and truth be told, it's all, I mean, we're here to make money. And if I don't help people stretch beyond what we can do together, your paycheck will always be way less than it could be because someone's not going to push outside of their comfort zone. So absolutely, I have 4 people on my top line, and I only have 4 people on my top line, and I will never have more than 4 people on my top line. And I've enrolled over 500 people. I always place, just like Amanda is saying, I never wait and let somebody sit in my waiting room for 60 days. I don't work my business that way. But I also will not pop somebody for them. I would say something like, hey, Amanda, I see, like, let's just say this is a perfect example. We have 4 days left in this month. Hey, Amanda, I see you're at $3,000 in volume. I've got $200. I can move you. I think you and this girl would really get along. If you can get the other $800, I can help close you. You are then creating motion within that organization to keep working. You're letting someone know, hey, you're not alone. Hey, we're going to do this together. But they have to be meeting you and matching your energy in some way that you've established before you just give away a placement. So this says, if someone gets moved, do they have a new upline? No, your sponsorship will never change. What I personally say to somebody when I enroll them, and I've made mistakes. Number one, I'll tell you straight up, I have moved people and not told them. I've just made a lot of mistakes in ways that I wish I would have communicated differently whenever I did, back in the past. What I do now, Amanda enrolls with me, and I'm just going to tell you, like, this is exactly what I do now. Further in the game, Amanda enrolls with me. I immediately say, what are your goals? What is your personality? What kind of leader do you need in a co-sponsor? And I will say a co-sponsor changes nothing with me. It gives you someone else to go to and somebody else to help you and someone else that has a vested interest in your organization. And I'll say something like, do you need someone who's soft and nurturing, or do you need someone who's a hard ass that's like, let's F this up? And I try and immediately get them to identify if they need someone nurturing or if they need somebody that's a hard ass, because everyone's different. And then I know who I'm building with, and it always is somebody, and I'm just being honest, that can help me as well with that person. I always want to move somebody where now we both have a vested interest in that move. We both are working with that person. We both are going to give that person, our attention, our time. It doesn't always work out beautifully, but that's my intention when I am trying to decide on a placement, not just looking at numbers. So I'm going to be quiet and let Amanda finish going through the slides.
What Courtney said is so true. Like, I don't ask them questions. I kind of gauge based on what I see of them, their personality, their work ethic, like how they do things. And like, just that is how I do my placements. And I will do the same thing. So I'll start a group chat. So with that person I placed and the person I placed under, and I'll be like, hey, just want to let you know that I had you guys link up in the same organization. You're going to have an additional resource. You're going to have another leader to look up to. You're going to have another person to ask questions, advice, support. And it's literally a gift. They're getting another leader in their corner to help them out. And say I place like 3 levels deep, I'll place everyone in the same chat. And I'll let them know. I'll be like, hey, I'm so excited. I linked you guys all up together. And now you have an additional resource. Feel free to lean on them, exchange numbers, all of those things. We have a pretty close-knit community amongst our whole team anyways, but I want to make sure that they know that is now their direct placement sponsor, and they have them also as a resource. So, and like Courtney was saying too, I have 4 on my top line as well. Being where I am right now, I would have more so built on 2 legs only, but it was a different situation. We didn't know what we were doing in the beginning, but that's something, once you get to her level, that's a normal amount to have. And the reason being, I got on a call with Courtney and literally we, mapped out our organizations, and it changed the game for me and Delaney to understand that, it makes more sense to have 4 strong organizations than 8 smaller ones. There's layered leadership. There's a growing large organization, people are working together. It just makes no sense to stretch, 5, 10 different organizations. It makes no sense at all. So as far as placing in general, like, I can never tell you where to place because I don't know the situation, and it's going to look different for everyone. Definitely something I would talk through a sponsor too, if you are just starting, especially if you are just establishing your first couple promoters, because you might not get your one strong leg or your two established organizations off the break. It might be something you have to play around with. You might have to have someone in your top line, and then you realize, like, a week later, they're like, this isn't for me. Okay, well, now we're going to have to replace that. And that's okay. You might have some other people in your top line that are more so like placement holders, and they aren't built organizations. But in the months to come with your business growing, you're going to eventually establish those people, and those are the people you want to work heavy underneath, and you're going to strategize with them as well. And that, the best part about it is that brings them into a leadership role that they didn't have before. You're building leaders, and they are now overseeing an entire organization too. And I love the idea of layered leadership as well. Like, I have some of my top leaders, and we can divvy up tasks. We can do different things together, and it just makes everything easier. Me having to oversee 1,500 people versus, 500 in different blocks is a lot easier, especially when you have people to help you out.
Can I say this really quick? Sorry, there's a couple of questions. So is two legs quicker to build with? No, it's not. However, try to visualize this. Okay, you have 4 legs, and you are building a 40K, a 40K, a 40K, and a 40K. I should have gotten my damn sticky notes. Sorry, Amanda. Yeah. So now I want you to envision you took that 40K organization, Delaney, and built it under Amanda. You have an 80K by way of a 40K. You have consolidated so much momentum, and that does not hurt you. And now you have everyone working together, and you have someone that is an 80K. It is just opening up so much more in the comp plan. And I will tell you, I teach this from day one. I always believe in building 2 legs until you get to the top. Absolutely have placement holders, have organizations that are going to float you for having that active leg. But if you can build within 2 strong legs, you have help. You just have so much more going on. It's not faster. But think about this. If I have Amanda and she's 40K and she's pushing for 280K and 200K, or if I have Amanda, I've put Dell under her, they're an 80K squad. They're going for the top rank in the company, and Dell's chasing Amanda's 80K. There's just so much more going on when you do it that way, and you're having people fly through the ranks. I mean, I believe in placement. I do not believe in placing deep, though. So I know Sheena said deep, not wide. Yes and no. I believe in building like 200K organizations under a 200K. If you go past about level 4, you're really, really risking somebody taking off at a low level and you missing out on thousands and thousands of dollars outside of level 8. It's happened to me. It happens to me every week, but I've learned from that, and I know not to place people deep. I just know not to place people that deep. So I just keep it high and tight is the best way I can say it. High and tight. And I will preach until I've preached it from day one, and I will preach it every single day. 2 legs until you go 200K will get your organizations popping. And it just creates so much momentum. The first 4 levels are yes and no. Like, let's just say there's a level 6 and there's Susie that ordered on the 1st, and I have never heard from her again, and it's the 29th, and somebody needs a little bit of volume or some leverage. I will 100% move to my lower levels, but I'm not building that deep. That would be, in my opinion, a placement holder, right? But like, let's say I enrolled Amanda, and I enrolled Dell, and I enrolled Coop, and I enrolled Kins, and I'm not placing that deep. You've got to pick somebody and place high and tight with them, and just run with that. So I hope that makes sense.
One more time this in.
I'm going to say a couple of things to you before you jump back in. Sorry, hold on, someone's unmuted. Amanda's about to go over this, but a placement is given and it's not given, it's earned. I will never ever place with someone who's negative. I don't care if they were one of my top leaders, if they are in a funky season, that is not fair to you, to them, and to the person you're placing. I place where there's fire. I place where there's positivity. I place where there's action. I place where there is something happening. If someone asks me for placement, I promise you they will never get placement again, because I want you to think about this. We have $1 million a month team, and I am so grateful and so thankful for that. But I will never get placement, ever. There is no one above me. We red leg the person that I roll up to by $2 million. Like, I will never get placement. And so when you're thinking about placement, if you're on this call, I hope you're thinking about how you can help instead of what you can get, because that is where your mind should go. I will never get placement, and I'm okay with that, because my checks reflect an organization where I have stayed enrolling. So, okay, Amanda, go.
Yeah, and what Courtney was saying, that's just so big. Asking for a placement, it's to the discretion of the person that is giving out the placement. And like she said, like I wrote in here, and like she said, it's earned. I'm not just going to give someone a placement just because, oh, like you just joined, so this would be cool if your volume pops off. No, I'm going to give a placement to someone who has been hustling and working their ass off. I'm going to give a placement to someone who is so close in rank, but has been doing all of the things, been showing up every single day, is consistent, is showing leadership roles, is showing up on all the calls, is doing all of the things. I'm going to give placement to someone that I know that they would work hand in hand really well with that other person. Their personalities jive. They get along with one another. They both have the same like hustler mentality mindset. They both have the same kind of brain, the way that they work. Like, I'm not going to place completely different personalities. Like, that's big for me too. So when I say the reasons why I place, those are the different things that I'm looking for. Like, ultimately at the end of the day, I love enrolling, not because I'm making a fast start, because I know that now I have someone where I can help someone else grow their organization even more. I get excited. The end of the month for the waiting room placement is literally the most exciting thing. Me and Delaney will get on FaceTime and we will talk for hours. Like, oh my God, who should we, like, it is an amazing thing. And it's something that you should be, obviously appreciative of, but recognize that it's not just going to be given to you just because you enrolled and you're a promoter and you sold, a one pack. It just doesn't work that way. And with the attitude thing, that's huge. Like, if someone is negative Nancy and is complaining and is like, I never can enroll, this is so annoying, I wish I was here, like, no, you make yourself get there and get as close as possible. And if someone were to come in and help, that is a gift. It is. And so I just want to make sure that that's known, because I've been asked for placement, Della's been asked for placement, and it ruins your chances of ever getting placed with, if you just want to be real. Like, that's ultimately what it is. Reasons why to place. So obviously building larger organizations, helping your promoters grow, balancing out organizations, which I'm going to get into red leg. Layered leadership. I love the idea that I can place, another strong leader with another strong leader, and they're going to work together to help all the people underneath them. Building a team. And then I do a lot of matching for volume, and I'm going to get into that as well. Yeah, like Kourt said, with strong mindset and work ethic, exactly what I do. So the red leg, everyone hears it like it's a negative connotation. I think the red leg is fabulous. I love a red leg. Red leg is a good problem to have. Ultimately, what this means is every organization cannot have more than 60% of volume from one leg to hit a specific rank. So this does not necessarily mean that the entire month you have to go balanced and even, exactly 60-40. That probably never happens, honestly. This is when you're going for that next rank, and ultimately you're going to be looking at the amount of volume that you can accrue max from at least one leg. So this down here will show, like, for 4K, your strongly can't hold more than 2,400, 12, 7,200. That doesn't mean that they can't hold it, and it's still there. You just haven't accrued it yet. So when you're going for a rank, say you're going for 4K and you have $500 in volume and someone underneath you has 2,600, you're only going to be holding that 24 in volume. So you're going to be sitting at 2,900 until you accrue that other volume outside of that strong leg. So ultimately what you're doing is you're just having to fill that 40% split. And then as soon as you get there, it all accrues, it all comes up on your wheel, and then boom, you're sitting at where you fully are at, and then you're going for the next rank, and then you need to worry about the next potential red leg. But I don't even like saying the word worry.
It's, Amanda, it's so true. Like, guys, listen to what she just said. You literally, number one, if you've ever been red legged and you choose to be frustrated, you will destroy your mindset in your business. I'm not saying I don't understand it. I am saying literally, once you view it as abundance, you will change the game. Literally, if you are red legged and you are so red legged that you have to only come up with 40% of a 200K, think about that. You actually can only work in one leg. And oftentimes, I know Amanda, me, Del, Coop, a lot of us have seen people become red legged because of placement, and then they get really pissy. And it is nobody's job but yours to make sure that you're not red legged. And no one can help you stay in a positive mindset and see that strong leg as abundance versus a negative. That is like the biggest blessing in the world. And you just have to choose to see it that way. And like Amanda said, you literally have to come up with 40% of whatever rank you're going for to get there. If you focus on that versus that excess volume, I don't know, man. To me, that is such a huge blessing to know that you never have to worry about 60% of your rank. View it as a blessing.
Really, like, it's like when someone comes to me and they're like, I'm so annoyed I'm red legged. I'm like, what? I'm like, it's 60% of your volume. Like, ultimately you are having to bring in less than half of your volume to hit your rank. So like, I think red leg is fabulous. And then as soon as you get out of it, then you get it all accrued, and then you just need to go into your next rank. And if someone is placing underneath your already red legged leg for some reason, that is their decision. And that is because they think that they're going to work well together in the longevity, long-term of your business. They're stacking people together that they think they're going to work well together. And just because you're red leg, like Courtney said, it is your responsibility to get out of a red leg. It is no one else's to balance you out. It is no one else's to ensure. Yes, I am crazy and I go through everyone's downline and I will help try to strategize how to get them out of it, but I'm not going to get them out of it just because they're in it and I put them in it. Say that I did the placement. So these are the numbers down here to look for, and I'm going to kind of explain where you're going to see if you're red legs and how to understand it. Okay, so let me see if I can zoom in on this a little bit. Okay. So understanding your back office, like I said, is critical. On the side, you know, like where your sponsorship downline is, your placement downline, but also knowing if you're red legged. It's not going to like come up and flash and be like, you're red legged. Like, it doesn't work that way. And a lot of people don't even know they are. And they're like, oh, I hit rank. And then it comes the end of the month and like, say there was a bonus payout. They're like, why didn't I get paid? I'm like, you were red legged. So, you know, you have to understand and start learning this eventually when you start growing your organization bigger. So this is it for an example. I gave a screenshot. So this is promoter A here, which is with the screenshot. And this is where a business dashboard. If you scroll down in your back office, you'll see something where I'll say business dashboard and then it'll say business snapshot. And then it'll show your current QV. So this is the total for this promoter. Okay. But that doesn't mean that they're holding all of that right now. So this promoter is not an 80K yet because they're about little less than 300 short of a red leg. It will show here your excess strong leg QV. That means that the strong promoter, which it will show in further detail down here under placement downline, which is promoter B is holding 21,000 over. So until promoter A fills this little gap, which is not much, to get to 80K, they won't fully accrue the full 101,000. So just to show you what it would look like. So this is the dashboard. And then if you go down here under placement downline, this is where you would go and click, like I told you, under my team, placement downline. And this is the way I look at it. There's another way to do it, but you have to be an 80K to have this report. So this is the way I like to show it. Ultimately, it's going to have these percentages. I hate when I never look at the percentages. Don't look there because it's never going to reflect what you want it to see.
The percentages reflect the former rank. So these percentages, for whatever reason, they reflect, like this person is going for 80K. This percentage is reflecting 40K. In this, the percentages do not ever look at those. Look at what Amanda is telling you. And really quick, I want to add Do you see how Amanda said up here, she just has to close that tiny gap? So many people get confused and they're like, I'm so red-legged. I'm red-legged by $21,000. No, you're not. You're red-legged by 200 or yeah, right. Yeah, $285. That's all. $285. Do not look at this excess strong leg. Look at the tiny gap because you will mind fuck yourself in thinking you're red like 21 grand when literally it's just like what, 2 customer orders and you would be unred legged. Okay.
Right. And this is something that you would not have to worry about again until, so I say this gap was filled and this person hit 80K. Now they accumulate all the volume. They still have the full 100. However, this promoter B is still holding that much volume. So now I'm just going to have to come into concern when it goes to 200K because you can't have that promoter hold more than 120. So if you get what I'm saying, like it's only when you're going for that next rank, you can red leg your way along until the next rank, until you need to see what you need to do to close to make sure that you can hit that and move forward. So in this specific example, promoter B is holding the 69,000. So obviously this is the red legger here because for 80K, you can't hold more than 48,000 on one leg. So that's where that 21,000 comes from. So whenever someone is looking at red leg, not only do I tell them to go in their business dashboard to see exactly how much they're red legged and how much they need gap to fill to hit that next rank on the board, I tell them to go into their back office. Obviously, I mean, you're more than likely going to know who's red legging you, but this is where you can see a breakdown of it. And then you can see where else you can fill outside of it to ultimately get you out of that red leg.
And also like if Amanda, if this is Amanda and she's trying to get unred legged, okay, and she's trying to close this gap of $300, she doesn't have to do that by herself. Let's say she's doing a promo with her team, and guys, I started doing those day one. It could be for anything. It could be for breakfast on me. It could be for a spiral notebook. It could be for any way you're incentivizing your team. She would never roll it out to her whole organization. She would group these people in these other legs into a chat and say, like, let's just say she had credits. She would roll it out there. She's going to know exactly where to work and where to push people to get unred legged. You're never hardly ever in it alone. You will know where to work within your organization outside of that red leg. You can still love them, support them, high five them, but it's business. It would be stupid for her to roll out like credits or a promo to her whole entire team when she's red legged. She would need to go into those other places and leverage momentum with anyone that's enrolling outside of that red leg.
Yeah. So basically I would do it. If this is my whole organization, I would do it for anyone that's outside of promoter B and open it up to them because anything else. And also customer orders are going to count as well. So as long as it's outside of the strong organization that's red legging you, it's going to count. So going down, yeah. So the big thing on this is just, if you want to know if you're red legged, I always look every day at my placement downline, my sponsorship downline, my business dashboard. And pretty much look at everything else. Okay, never mind. But you want to make sure that you look at these all the time. And I'm constantly looking at people are active with their PV, where they're at. I like to gauge these numbers. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to matter on the 3rd day of the month. Like I have one heavy or strong organization. I know that on the 2nd and 3rd day of the month, it's probably all coming from there. And that's okay. But you just want to keep an eye on it and watch and see where it heads when you're getting for that next rank. It's like, okay, what do I need to do to get out of it and move on to the next level? And then we can focus on the next rank and the next rank and the next rank. Okay, so before I talk about this is something that it's a lot of strategy, and I'm obsessed with like looking at my organization and like seeing who I can help and what makes sense for sales and who can place with who and how you can get someone out of red leg. Like there's nothing more satisfying than making sure that you have like multiple people pop rank, 10 people get out of a red leg, all these people make money. It's like the most exhilarating feeling. It's like I'm obsessed. So this is something that comes with time for you to be able to look in an organization and understand, okay, I'm going to go to this person, have them place this, bring in this and do this. So I try to make it as simple as possible. And I focused on one side of this organization. This is a fake organization, to try to help you understand how you can go about going to people and having them bring in matching volume, and everyone wins. Everyone gains a working promoter. Like I said, say that like, so there's one person in this waiting room. and I'll go over this and I'll explain something else after. So like I said, with my placements, I don't give volume unless it's very minimal and it's someone who's working their ass off and it's like the end of the month, like Courtney said, and I'm trying to help them close a rank. I'm going to do dollar for dollar placement. And the reason why I do this, it's going to maximize volume on all parties, on every level. People are going to gain working promoters. It's monumental growth. There is no point of doing a $5,000 placement and no one bringing in anything else in return. No one benefits.
You're doubling your organization.
Right.
If Amanda has $5,000 in her waiting room, which she's about to show you, she literally could give it away and pop some ranks, or she literally could create $5,000 more in momentum by doing a dollar for dollar, roughly. You know, it might not be quite a dollar, but pack for pack, and saying, you bring in one, I'll help you with one. You bring in one, you're doubling. You are doubling what your organization is doing versus just giving things away. Just, oh, good job. Here's this. You're creating momentum. And when you create momentum, you create enrollment. And when you create enrollment, you create paychecks for people with them, not for them, but with them.
Yeah. And if you look at it big picture, if you get everyone in on it, like this is what makes this business so different than so many others. It's teamwork, and it's so much more exciting and rewarding when we all work together to make something happen. Everyone pops ranks, everyone gets out of red leg, everyone makes money, everyone's excited. It's like, this is literally the best part of the business. And once you finally fully understand it and are able to like strategize and do these with people, the business will be that much more fun because everyone's winning. So if this was the situation, I'm focusing on right leg only. Like if this was ultimately my organization, I would find a way to make everyone pop, but I don't want to make it too confusing. And I try to make the numbers even to make it more understandable. So Tracy's at the top. Okay. And on her right leg is her strong leg is Julie. So she has this whole organization underneath her. So Tracy's waiting room is in that square. So as of right now, Tracy only has $1,000 in her waiting room. So looking at everyone underneath, it's like, okay, who is close within rank and who is red legged? What can we do here? Julie is obviously red legged because Kate is holding over 24,000 of her 40K. Sean is red legged because Joe is holding over 7,200 of his 12K. Tom is within $1,000 of hitting 4K, and Joe is within $1,000 of hitting 12K. So there's a potential for 4 people right now to get unred legged and or rank. So it's like, what can we do here? If I looked at this and this is what I had, this is what I would do. I would go first, you're establishing where everyone is at. So everyone is either short of a rank or is red legged. So I would come in and I would first, Joe is easy. I could close him right now and then it wouldn't benefit anyone else. So instead of saying, Joe, I'll close you with Joel, I'm going to say, you close your own and I'm going to match you and give you a working promoter. I'm sorry. Joe closes and Julie is going to move the 1,000 she brings in and put it under Joe. So let me start over. I'm literally like, I start like sweating when I start thinking about this stuff. Okay, breathe. All right. You tell Julie, Sean, Joe, and Tom to all bring in 1,000 in volume. The idea is they're going to be matched. They're not only going to be matched with the volume, but they're all going to be matched with a working promoter. Okay. So in the long term, everyone is going to benefit. Everyone's going to get out of red leg. Everyone's going to rank advance. So if you go down to the second page and you show the way it works and the results of what would happen. So if I told everyone to bring in that 1,000, basically what would happen is Julie is taking her 1,000 and she's placing it, okay, under Joe down here. And then I'm probably confusing everyone right now. And then Tracy is going to place 1,000 under, or Joel under Tom. By doing this, Tom is going to hit 4K. Joe is going to pop 12. Sean's going to get out of his red leg and Julie's going to get out of her red leg. So you just had 4 people hit their rank.
So
by maximizing the volume.
She created momentum in multiple different places. She's creating volume in multiple different places with one thing, or I guess like one card up her sleeve by saying, hey, this is what I have. She didn't just go to Joe and go, I got $1,000, I'm going to pop you. She didn't just go to Tom, I got $1,000, I'm going to pop you. She probably went to Julie first and said, hey, this is what I have. I'm going to work it down this far. Meet me in the middle. And it just creates, the way I can explain it is it creates vested interest. Now you have Tracy, Julie, Sean, Joe, Tom, and Joel all working for a common goal. versus just one person working for a rank by themselves, or Amanda sitting up there at the, at the top of her organization going, well, all of these people could do X, Y, and Z. She literally is carrying that energy, and their next rank and their promotion and their next goal. She's carrying that as her own every day when she wakes up, and knowing exactly whose goal is coming, next. And she's carrying that energy of Tom and Joe and Sean and Julie. She's not just, Amanda sitting up top going, okay, are y'all going to close it? She's creating motion within her whole team.
Yeah. And once you start understanding how to do that, they're not going to see what's all going on above them, especially Tom being at the bottom. So there's no way he would know, like, look, if I bring in 1,000 in volume, I'm going to get a working promoter and I'm going to help all these people above me. He doesn't know that. All he knows is I'm 1,000 short of my rank. So it is your responsibility to understand your organization. Like, if this was me, I would put them all in a group chat and I'd be like, look, there's 3 days left of the month. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to make it happen. We're all going to pop and we're all going to get out of red leg. This is, and I will step by step say what everyone needs to do. I'll be like, Julie needs to bring in 1,000, Sean needs to bring in 1,000, and I'll break it down. I'll go into detail as far as like, how many packs and if it makes sense to run a sale. And that's a whole nother aspect of it. But this is the most exciting part of the business. And if you take the time to truly understand and memorize your organization, make sure feed in those people. You need to be in the trenches with them. This is not just like 200K and coast, like it's all gravy, like sucks for them if they hit their rank. I know I hit it. That's not the way it works. Like the way that this company and business structure is set up is so that we have the ability to do these things. There's a waiting room and placement for a reason, and utilize it and maximize the potential for everyone. In this situation, if Tracy were just to take Joel and place it under Tom, okay, so now Julie's still red leg. She didn't hit 40K. Sean's still red legged, and Joe didn't hit 12. So, but you also don't want to give it to people. For example, Tom is like, okay, well, I had to bring in 1,000, so I pretty much did the work to hit 4K. But yeah, but you also just gained a working promoter, and everyone above you gained one as well because it's now in their downline organization. So there's so many benefits to this, and obviously every situation is gonna be different. It's very rarely you're gonna have like even numbers like this. It's usually like me using an entire notepad of writing everything out. But I obsess over this, and I love it so much because you can help so many people. And if you don't learn, then your team's not gonna learn. So yes, this is a little more complicated. Yes, it's a little more advanced, and it takes strategy and like calculators and all this stuff. But once you get to the point where you can do this, your organization is going to pop off. Like, there is nothing I love more than getting on the call with Delaney and we just go ham. Like, I'm talking 20 levels deep. Like, literally the last day of the bonus incentive, we ensured that 53 people popped 4K. Like, that is insane. And the reason why is because we are invested in our people, and we are making sure that we know what's going on in every aspect of the organization. And if they're close enough and if they're working, we're going to help you. I mean, if you're just sitting back and hoping you're going to get a placement, that's a completely different story. But for people that are like in it to win it, and they're like, I want this, they're working their ass off, we're like, I'm going to show you how to do it. And we're going to try to do it together as a team. It's not just you. It's not like a one woman, one man team.
And that's the thing too. Amanda and Delaney were always very open, and they would come to me at the very beginning and say, this is what we're thinking. What are your thoughts? I don't know who the people they're talking about. Not that like I don't know their team, but it's impossible for me to know. And I literally, as an outsider, could say, yep, oh, wait, did you think about this? Oh, yeah. It is critical. It is critical that you have a relationship with your upline and that you are advocating for your waiting room and saying, not necessarily like, do you agree with this, but strategizing and saying, hey, this is what I'm thinking. What would you do? Or do you see anywhere I might be messing up? One thing I'll tell you is if you're moving too deep and you've earned a trip and you've barely earned a trip, and let's say you move someone too deep that had customer auto ships, you could lose customer auto ships and lose your whole entire trip. There's always something that somebody that's been where you're going can think about and problem solve with you from a very objective standpoint, and just weigh in and say, hey, I would do this, or hey, did you think about this? But you've got to advocate for that. And I know I speak for myself and anyone else that's a leader. Ask them, do not ask them though with 3 hours left in the month. Hey, we need to pop da 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 da. That is, you should be going, hey, I need to pop, we're popping day 1, day 2, day 3. But get on a call with them, get in your back office, let them share a screen, you share a screen. And like she gets on a Zoom with Dell every time now, not because Amanda doesn't know, not because Dell doesn't know. 2 eyes or 4 eyes are better than 2, so that you have 2 different brains thinking about different strategies. It is like the biggest rush in this whole thing that we do. It is the biggest rush being able to do that. But you never want to do it by yourself, because you could miss opportunities to do, I don't know, like you could just miss something. So it's not like for approval that you need to get on a call with an upline. It is literally for someone who you trust giving you a different perspective and a different set of eyes to think about different things. So just don't be afraid to reach up and ask. I never mind. I love, yeah, Delaney. Do you know how many times Delaney's ass moved too many people off of her top line? And I'm like, you're going to get paid as a 12K and you have $300,000 in volume, Delaney. And she's like, oh my God. And so she's got to go sign 2 promoters really quick. She almost lost $80,000 twice. It's just like when you know someone has your back, have them look over your stuff and just be like, hey, did I miss anything? It's literally not for approval. It's teamwork. It is such teamwork, and it's so fun. And I love it. I don't care if you're my level 10 and I don't even get paid on you. I love to help people strategize with their waiting room. It's my favorite thing too.
Yeah, I mean, this is the part of the business that is the most fun part. Like the conversations and, before the enrollments, like that's like the not so fun part. Like this is what I live for. And it's not because I want to keep winning, it's because I want everyone else to win with me. This business is not about you being successful. It's helping everyone else be successful. And in turn, you are successful. A lot of my team, like I take pride in that, and knowing that they know that I'm always going to be there. I'm always going to oversee their organization. I'm always going to give advice, suggestions, support. I'm going to strategize. I'm going to number crunch. And same with Delaney. And even if you don't have someone, they're not in the same downline, like Delaney's obviously above me, but it's like Courtney said, it's smart to have people like give a second look sometimes. And especially if you are working amongst someone. So say Delaney places someone under me, I'm definitely going to want to communicate with her as far as what I'm doing under her person, because she knows them better. They're her personally enrolled, and it's just smart business. And the one thing that I thought about, I didn't bring up earlier, saying that you're helping everyone underneath you. You guys, if you have hit your rank and you are a leader, you do not stop enrolling until the end of the month, until the last second. And the reason why is not because you know damn well you're not going to get to the second rank. It is to stack your waiting room for your people. I cannot stress that enough. During the bonus incentive, me and Delaney, we'd be that tens of thousands of dollars above our rank. Like I could easily have slept for 30 hours because I didn't sleep the 3 days before, but I was like, no, I'm going to stack as much as I possibly can to get as many people these rank matching bonuses. And that is a mentality you should have even outside of rank match. And I can't stress that enough, because you're the top dog of your organization. Like take responsibility in the fact that these are your people and you are here to help them. That is literally what you are here for. So that is something huge, because when I was going for 80K the first time, I was so stressed out. I literally didn't sleep for 5 days, and I was so close. And the first time I hit it, it was barely there. Granted, the whole next day, I ended up ending like 10K over, but I was 24 hours out and I was panicking. And Delaney had hit 200K. She was 330,000. I don't even know. It was something crazy. I don't know. But she was mass enrolling like an animal because she wanted to help me. And that is like what a true leader does. So, yeah, I mean, with that being said, any questions, anyone? Yeah, Delaney, chill. I'm like about to cry over here. Yeah, just understanding the importance of placement and what it can do for your whole organization. And just like, if you need to reference this back or ask questions or reach out to your sponsor or whatever you need to do to get a full grasp of understanding, do it. The sooner you do that, the faster your organization is going to grow. Like when we really took off is when we linked arms with Courtney, and she did a little sticky notes, and she was like, look, you either have 240K or 440Ks or 280Ks. What makes more sense here? and she just broke it down, simplified, and then we got like obsessed and, started teaching it to our people and all those things. But, maximize your waiting room, ensure that you know what you're doing placement. Don't do placement for no reason, have a reason and know why you're doing it, and communicate with your people, reach out to them, ask them how they're doing. You're red legged, like what's the situation? Where are you at? What is your goal? Like, make sure you're always on the same page as them, as knowing what they want. If they don't want to work the business and they're red leg, whatever, okay. I mean, you're not just going to do it just to do it, but if they want it badly, I'm going to map this out like a crazy person, and I'm going to crunch all the numbers. Like, this is it. This is what we have to do step by step. And if we can make this happen, we're all going to win. Yeah, that is my TED talk for tonight. I get like so amped up over this. Like, this is like what I live for.
I love you, man. I mean, you're brilliant, and this is going to be gold. And if you're watching this and you're like, okay, this is a little much, I promise you, the more you serve others, it'll make sense. I realized really quick that if I wasn't helping somebody else win, I was never going to win. And if I did, it wasn't going to last. I will tell you, guys, I have made placement errors. I've lost legs. I have had a $750,000 leg quit. Like, nothing can stop me. And literally, we are about to close in on another $1 million month, and I could put my legs up, but like, how could I? And that's got to be your hunger and your mentality from day one, is how can I sleep knowing other people are up chasing their dreams? I may not enroll at the same rate that I did when I don't really want to say in my prime or anything like that. I've had some really great months. But my hunger is the damn same. I wake up every day going, okay, I know this person either needs to hit this rank or get this rank back. I write down my girls' names. I write down their goals. I have it in my notes. I have it on a dry erase board. I have all of that in front of me, because it's not about me anymore. And it truly never was. And if you can grasp that from day one, you will serve others straight to the Millionaires Club. I believe that with my whole entire heart. You literally will serve others straight into the Millionaires Club. If you don't, your team won't know who you are. And you want to be known not for your reputation, but for your support. You want to duplicate being up on the last day of the month, serving your team. I hit my rank every month. I hit my rank on the 5th. I hit 200K by the 5th every single month. My work is nowhere close to done. I'm still not done today. But you got to get in that mindset before you even go 4K, and keep that energy, because even if you enrolled 10 people, your job wouldn't be done. Okay. I love this. This is my jam. My biggest fear as a leader is to ever come to the end of the month and literally look at someone in the eyes and be like, I'm sorry, I didn't enroll anyone this month. I can't help you. Or I didn't thrive for free, so I didn't get any credits. Or it's not that I'm not responsible for my team, but I have a very, very serious responsibility to my team, that if they're showing up and they're busting ass, that I am showing up and helping them, that I am showing up and doing my part. And I'm not just showing up on Tuesdays and making a post that's like, woo woo, I got paid today. It is going, hey, I know so-and-so on your team's going for this, or I know we're closing in on this, or I know you're $900 away. What credits do you have? What credits do I have? What do I have in my closet, in my hall closet, as far as product goes, to close gaps with people? I mean, if you're sitting on this call right now and you don't know what gap you're trying to fight to close with somebody by the end of this month, I'm not going to say like you suck. I'm going to say you need to check your heart. You need to check yourself in the mirror and go, whoa, have I just been focusing on me? Because I know, like right now, hands down, I have an 800 gap to close somewhere with somebody. Like, hands down, I know that. I know that night and day. I know what I'm doing. make sure you keep that energy from day one. And Amanda, thank you so much. You are so brilliant and so smart, and I appreciate you like literally making my thoughts come to life, because I have never been able to. And she literally, we didn't even talk. She just sent me this at like 4 o'clock in the morning and goes, "What do you think?" And I was like, "I think that you literally
I was
just
like, oh,
made what I think. Oh, you put it on paper. Like, thank you." Thank you so, so much. Guys, thank you for hanging out with us. This is my favorite part, and it's month end, so like I'm really pumped up now. So I know I'm about to jump on the Zoom with Candace, and we're about to look at her waiting room. And guys, if you need help, please reach out to somebody. And again, Amanda, like, kiss your brain. I love you. Thank
love you
you.
guys. I'll share the PDF for you guys. I don't know how. I'll ask Courtney how she wants me to share it so you guys can reference it later. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me too.
Okay, bye guys. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Amanda.
Bye.